RESLV has the honor of telling the Great Living Cincinnatians stories each year. And today we get to talk to Molly Henderson, one of RESLV's amazing editors, who gets to bring those stories to life. Let's hear about everything Great Living Cincinnatian. Okay, Molly, you have bravely taken a seat in the amazing Drew Barrymore chairs.
Drew knew what she was doing when she made these chairs.
Drew knew what she was doing. I want to interview you and just ask you a couple questions about one of our favorite annual projects that we do with the Cincinnati Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. Tell me what it is that you do. What's the project?
Yeah, so it's always around like the beginning of the year is we work with the Chamber on the Great Living Cincinnatian Awards. And so it's really recognizing 4 individuals in the community that have done and they all come from like different backgrounds, different organizations that they're part of, whether it's like through their company, they've done all this great work, or they've like set out on their own to just go out into the community. So it's really cool to kind of learn about different people who are in the Cincinnati region doing all this great stuff. And usually I might know like a person or two. I'm like, yeah, I've heard of them before. I've heard of the company they work for, but usually it's all people that I'm like, I had no idea. And they're all like behind the scenes, just like making all these impactful waves in the city of Cincinnati.
I think that's probably one of my favorite parts about this project too. Mm-hmm. So it is the Great Living Cincinnatian Award. There's 4 honorees every single year, like you mentioned. And the list of honorees is just incredible. Like when you look at the list of names that have come through over the past, I don't even know how many years. It's been a long time. And you personally have been working on this project from an editing standpoint and really kind of inputting your creative direction on this project. So how many years have you worked on this project as the lead editor?
I think I've been doing it for 3 years.
This is your 3rd year?
I think this is it's either 3 or 4, but it's somewhere around there. So I've been doing it a couple years now. And so each year I feel like I always am learning more about like myself in the editing process. And also like, since it is like a reoccurring project, it's kind of fun to be able to like try new like editing techniques or try new like way I want the story to flow or anything like that. So it's been it's fun knowing like, this project is coming around every year. So I know I can kind of plan ahead of time for sure.
Yeah. And I guess my question to you then is like, when you first took on this project, I have to imagine that you were thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, like there's 4 people. They are big names in the Cincinnati community, like you mentioned. People like Roger Howe, John Barrett. You've got
like Neil Armstrong and like Ruth Lyons. Like it's like, it goes back deep and it's crazy. Like when you pull up the list, it's all these movers and shakers in the Cincinnati region.
Agreed. Yeah. It's all the movers and shakers. But like when you first took on this project, I mean, you are being tasked with this extremely hard project in the sense that like you have to take all this information about these amazing human beings. There's 4 every single year, and you have to distill down all the things that people said about them, all their pictures. And it's not just like a period of their life, it's their whole life, Molly.
Yeah.
So how do you come at a project like that? Like, what is your process? How do you even start? And think about how you started maybe like this year, because it's so fresh.
Yeah, even going back to the original video, that was or the first GLCs that I worked on, that was actually one of my like first projects full-time working at RESLV. So definitely going in from like that stage, I was like, whoa, you have so many information about all these like 4 great people because they've lived such strong and like long lives of doing all this great work and everything. So
they're not sitting at home on the couch eating bonbons. They're out in the Cincinnati.
You're not watching Summer I Turned Pretty or anything, hanging out.
No, that's what we do. We sit around watching the Summer I Turned Pretty. I'm not getting a GLC award for doing that, but whatever.
But like going with like the process of kind of like paring me down. At first it was definitely overwhelming. And now I feel like I have like a really well-oiled like system that I go through. So like for this year going into it, I always read, the chamber comes out with like a little like kind of like short and condensed like little article on like each GLC member. So that's a good like kind of rough draft to kind of read and know like, cool, this is like a nice like highlights of all their stories. And then going through with watching all the interviews. I like taking notes.
But even
on
before
all
that, I'm going to stop you because you're not giving yourself enough credit. After you read through the article that the chamber puts out, which happens like right after Thanksgiving, right? So when that happens, then you come to our, the other team members at RESLV and say, hey, here's the questions that I want you guys to ask. So you're actually working from reviewing their life story in that article to coming up with questions. And then you're sending the rest of the team out there and trusting that we're going to get the answers that you need.
That's true.
To be able
you should
to
be my
edit.
spokesperson because you hype me up so well.
I'm a good hype woman.
No, but especially this year was, in the past, I haven't done the interviews, like come up with the questions. And so this year was really fun to be able to like dive into like writing the questions out that I specifically want to like help in my editing process. So I felt like this year it was nice jump when I got into the edit point. I was like, oh yeah, like these are the questions that I had written that were developing towards the edits that I wanted to happen.
Yeah, you took more control over the creative process. And I think that's really, I don't know, I think that's awesome. I think as you said, like you've been growing each year as an editor, but even on this project, I think I've seen a difference, like not saying that there's anything wrong with the first one that you did, but like even seeing the way that it looks this year, I think you have challenged yourself to try to change up the style a little bit. Like how did you kind of come up with that idea?
Thank you, by the way. I feel like for this year, I think I would just kind of, since it is like my third or fourth year, I was like, I kind of want to like push a little bit on like the normal flow of the GLC videos. I love the flow of how it usually is the last couple of years, but I was like, let's try something out a little differently. And each person I felt like had a fun, unique story that they had. So I was like, let's try it out. And I just kind of was thinking of what could maybe make these even more engaging and more impactful. So I wanted to kind of take it a different route this way. So
yeah. No, I think it shows. I think that everyone's going to be really excited to not only see these videos live, which everyone does at the annual dinner, the chamber annual dinner, but I think the Great Living Cincinnatians would be, I don't know, I think they would be really proud, right? Like it's a lot. I'm sure it's a humbling experience to be named an honoree. And then you're thrown into this, I guess limelight in a way, right? Like you're being, your life is kind of out there in the business courier right after Thanksgiving. Then you've got this company RESLV calling on them, and, right, exactly. And I mean, the people that we got to interact with and, interview, Pete Strange, Francie Hiltz, Karen Bankston, Jeff Weiler, right? Out of all those people, I can expect Jeff Weiler probably is very used to being on camera, but I can't imagine that everybody was used to being on camera. So I can't wait for them to see how, we went from like interviewing to gathering all these materials and footage, extra footage about them to then they get to see the final product. So
no, and that's exactly like the whole point is like my goal at least is to make everyone in the room know like, this is why they're a Great Living Cincinnati. Like this is everything that they've done or where they started from and where they are now. And like, I want everyone to walk away feeling like, oh yeah, they deserve this award. They've done so much in the work of the community or at their company or wherever it is. And I want the Great Living Cincinnatians to also feel like, wow, like this was a cool reflection of like my whole life, seeing all these, there are people that, cause they always get like a couple people to talk for them as well. So I think it would be cool as the GLC, also Great Living Cincinnati, short for GLC sometimes. Yeah. But if I was the recipient of the Great Living Cincinnati, it would be cool to see all the people that are in my life talk about me in such a high regards too. So I'm hoping they kind of walk away with it like, wow, like I've surrounded myself with such good people and it's fun to see the results of all the hard work they've done.
That's a really good point too. I love that. Yeah. So how are you going to feel at the annual chamber dinner, which is again, the night where these 4 videos are then revealed. What is your sort of like, do you sit there? Are you nervous? Do you sit there at the dinner watching everybody else react to the videos? Are you excited, nervous? After it's all said and done, are you like, whoo, or are you ready to go and ready to tackle the next thing?
I feel like usually I start off a little bit nervous before everything goes. Cause I'm like, I just start going through like, what could go wrong with like, what if they don't like it? I don't know. I just go through like all the worst case, I guess, scenarios. But like once I feel like the first one starts like playing, then I'm like, I hear everyone's reactions or it's cool. Cause you see people reacting in ways that maybe I didn't react at first. Like they laugh at something or they are like saying like, oh, or like you hear like the actual reaction. I'm like, oh, I didn't even like think that would be the reaction I would get, but it's fun seeing everyone like interact with the video edit. So once that starts, the first one starts playing, I'm like, okay, wait, let me just enjoy this and feel proud in the moment that like, yeah, I worked 2 months like on all these videos or on these 4 videos. And now I can actually see the reward. Cause usually when you're editing, a lot of times the videos are more for like marketing side where it's getting posted on like a website or something, or I'm not always at the events that the videos are shown at. So I don't always see the reactions of people.
Great
This
point.
one's such a fun event to go to and really see like, wow, okay, like all my hard work is being seen and people are enjoying the video. So
there's 500 people typically at these events. So
we've had people all over the place. So it's cool being in there and being like, wow, all these high up people are.
Yeah. The executive levels are there watching the work that you put together. So congratulations on another amazing season of Great Living Cincinnatian videos. I think that you should be really proud of the direction that you've taken them in. And I can't wait to get these out and to the public. So everyone can see them.
I can't wait.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us today on Rediscover Your Story by RESLV. We're here to slow things down, swap ideas, and connect with people who care about storytelling as much as results. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with someone who might need the same creative break you did. Subscribe to our podcast for more insightful stories worth slowing down for. Until next time, keep creating, keep questioning, and keep being part of a community that believes that stories matter. You never know whose story RESLV will help rediscover next.